Hello, everyone, and welcome back down to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Joining me today is apprentice storyteller extraordinaire and my other most adorable co host, Atticus. Uh, he is, of course, not initiated into any circles of lore yet, but he is learning, and my goodness, does he have a massive way with his charm spells and abilities. But today we are continuing on with the Occultist Guide. We're taking a look at the rest of their class abilities, and then next weekend, hopefully, we will be going over their implements, the associated powers, and what schools of magic and spell lists they provide for the Occultist as you advance and go along. And this is, again, a surprisingly complex class, just with the amount of stuff that comes with it. And given the limitations that it faces, you really do need to be careful in your planning, power selection, and spell selection to be effective as a character. Now, with that said, if you spy something anywhere along the way, either looking over the class or through this guide that maybe I marked down as not all that effective, but just appeals to your character's concept, take that. Role playing and story far outweigh mechanical benefits more often than not. I mean, having a mechanically effective character is nice, but you want it to fit the story and the concept and ideas that you have in place. But with all that said and out of the way, let's go ahead and keep rolling right on along here. To begin with, we have outside contact. This kicks in at 8th level. You learn the true name of a particular outsider that can have no more than 3 hit dice. The outsider is called by expending an additional focus point when drawing your magic circle. While trapped, the occultist can bargain with the outsider for one piece of information. This will require payment, a minimum gold piece value. Bargaining will require either a diplomacy or intimidate check opposed by the creature's sense motive check. Success can lower the price, but failure can increase it, or even allow the creature to escape, which, not ideal in that particular situation. Having a pissed off outsider is, even at 3 hit dice, is in no way good for you. But that's not all this ability does. At 12th level and every 4 levels thereafter, you learn the true name of another outsider. Oh, buddy boy. Hey, come here. You can only call one outsider at a time, but you're able to ask one additional question for every 4 levels through this ability. And at level 16, you can have the outsider deliver an object weighing less than 1 pound. The closer the target is, the faster the delivery, and you also have to be able to describe the target accurately for when you want this to happen. If the target is within line of sight of you, the delivery will be more or less instantaneous. Then by level 12, we get the ability Binding Circles. When creating a magic circle, you expend 1 additional focus point to make it a binding circle. Binding circles are invisible and count as a trap. If a creature of the selected alignment enters it, the creature gets to roll a reflex save with a DC 10 plus 1/2 your occultist level plus the intelligence modifier in order to avoid being trapped. If trapped, the creature can move inside the circle, but can't attack, cast magic, or otherwise cross the barrier. They can do all that within the circle, but cannot affect anything outside of it. A creature that can see the circle gains a +4 bonus on the save. If trapped, they make a will save against the same DC at the end of each hour. My goodness, he has so much to say about all these binding circles. He knows what it's like to have been trapped for a while. And by that I mean swaddled. I don't mean like we leave him in a box or in a closet anywhere. But going on from there, the occultist, of course, has more abilities to go along. At level 16, they get fast circles. The occultist has learned to draw magic circles as a full round action. Circles drawn this way only endure for 1 minute per level unless drawn in conjunction with contact outsider, which still lasts 10 minutes. The binding circles last 1 round a level. Then at level 20, we get Implement Mastery. And this is actually a pretty good capstone ability. And when we go over the implements and the focus powers and all of that, you'll get why, even more so, I hope. The occultist has mastered one of their implements. They select one implement school. Whenever they use a focus power from that implement school, the DC to resist its effects is increased by 4, and they treat their level as 4 higher to determine the effects and duration of that power. Not only that, but the occultist also gains 4 more mental focus points. But these points have to be invested in implements of the mastered school. You can't save these points or expend them for any ability other than the focus powers of those implements. The hardness of each of the occultist implements of the mastered school is increased by 20 as long as the item has at least 1 point of mental focus stored in it. And hardness helps prevent your items from taking damage. And the implements are probably your biggest strength and also your biggest weakness, because if they're stolen from you or destroyed, well, then you lose those implement powers. Any focus power put into them is gone with it. You can't activate it. So definitely important to keep those things intact and keep them handy on your person. And these abilities are actually very useful. I like the circle binding. I like that you can make the circles faster. It still takes you a full round action, but compared to having to take a whole minute to draw the circles in comparison, I mean, there's no contest there. That's incredibly useful, especially since when these can act as magic circles of protection or circles to bind creatures in them, like different traps and such. That's actually really useful, and with some clever planning, you can do a lot with these. And then implement mastery is just fantastic to begin with, too. But with that said, I'm going to have to tend to the initiate here. He has more things that need to be taken care of. If you enjoyed today's video, go on down there in the comments section, hit the like button, let me know what you thought. Or hell, even if you didn't like it, you want to hit the dislike button and give me a piece of your mind, well, do so. I'm more than happy to engage in debate and discussion over these things. But if you did enjoy today's video, good news for you folks. There are going to be 2 more videos popping up over this way. One of which is something that I've done recently. The other, the almighty Google Rhythm has decided that you will enjoy as well. Or hell, if this hasn't been your first stop here at the Gamer's Den and you've been liking what you've seen so far, then why not hit the subscribe button, become a regular member, and join us here at the Gamer's Den. But with that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.